Hello and welcome to another exclusive series of S24, where we unpack stories shaping Nigeria, Africa, and the world at large. Remember, this is your world window. And today we turn the spotlight on the story that is making the rounds on the internet, especially with federal appointment and allocations, especially with the 2025 budget as well, major project infrastructures, etc. On this session, we are together with no one else but the popular Malet Dawisu on X, formerly Twitter, and the whole name is Malem Salihu Tanko Yakasai, the former gubernatorial candidate of PRP in Kano, former spokesperson to former governor of Kano State, and many other things that will unpack, including curating Global Shapers Kano. Welcome to this series.
Thank you very much, Halima, for having me, and good day, viewers.
Thank you so much. And this day, we would like to unpack most of the things that, as an APC member, you would like to touch light or touch bear on. And especially, start with the appointment, further appointment, which is something that a lot of political analysts, including yourself, are talking about. You're an APC member.
Yep.
What do you make of all of these things going down?
But you see, the issue of political appointments, it's nothing new, to be honest, because every government, the president cannot operate alone. He needs a very solid team, not just around him, but also to man different MDAs that we have. And you know very much that Nigeria has too many MDAs, according to the Orensanya report. And so it is expected that the president, right from the time he begins to nurture the ambition of leading or ruling, as the case may be, you know, he must start to think of who and who do I need, to be able to, man these several offices and MDAs, what have you, so that they'll be able to form a team and can help him deliver on some of these campaign promises and policies and programs of his government. So it is understandable and it is the norm across the globe. It is nothing new. I think where a lot of people have problem um, with the current administration when it comes to appointment is the issue of packing all the so-called juicy appointments to one particular region. Even the region, that's the Southwest region, even in that, it's also centered around one or two states. And this is contrary to the laid down rules governing the country. We do have the issue of federal character. We do have over 200 other nationalities or tribes, ethnic groups in the country. So when you begin to corner everything to a particular one tribe, and then that becomes a problem because it is not just that one tribe that gave you the mandate, that gave you the votes. In fact, the generality of the votes that President Ahmed Bola Tinubu got did not get it from the Southwest. You know, to 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 put it mildly, he did not win his state, Lagos. You know, so I think the major concern is the centralization of these appointments, juicy appointments, that go to one side of the country, just one tribe. And there's no issue, because one of the arguments that the supporters of the president, make is the issue of competence. So I find that insultive.
Sure.
Because there are competent people across this country. We have them all over. You have them in the southeast, you have them in the south, you have them in the northeast, north central, northwest. You have everywhere there. You have competent people. So I feel insulted when the supporters of this particular loop-sided appointment, in their defense, say that we are going after competence, and that is why let the competent person that is fit for the job, take it. And I think that is very detrimental to the overall development of a complicated and complex country like Nigeria. And even if one of the things that with the recent appointment of the head of fire service, I totally understand. I did my research on him. He is from the system. He's the second in command, you know. but he's from, is it Koji, Kwara? I know. But the problem is not the candidate. The problem is that when appointments are coming to the north, the good ones, for say, they're still going to the same tribe. They'll go to Kwara or Kogi, to pick the same tribe, you know, and trying to create a rift between the north. Because if I from the northwest, argue that why are you piking appointments to Yorubas in Kwara, in Kogi? Of course, naturally, someone from Kwara or Kogi that is getting the appointment will feel, but you claim we are all in the north. So, yeah, why are you crying foul? But the issue is that remove yourself from Kogi or Kwara as an individual state and look at the larger picture. Because I don't see the spread, I don't see the balance in these appointments. As of now, they are almost close to 90 or more major appointments. In terms of appointments in the major parastatals, there are close to 90 major appointments that have gone to a particular tribe, a Yoruba tribe. 90 out of how many parastatals, the so-called juicy parastatals that we have. So you see the overall issue is that there needs to be a spread. Let me give you an example, for instance. Kano, which happens to be the state that I'm come from, is the state that gave the president more or less the highest votes in the last election, you know. And Kano State has only two state ministers. State ministers. And we all know what a state minister is in Nigeria. I don't need to sugarcoat it. If you are not a federal minister, you are a state minister. You understand? We have two state ministers. What other appointments do we have? Executive directors, you know, the board chairman, board members. These are not positions that can. So the bottom line is, in a country where we have seen previous leaders on what they have done, even though they are also uh, touring the same path as what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing, but it has never been this extreme.
But I'll come to that because mostly defenders of this administration in terms of appointment usually say the former late president did the same. And what will you say about comparison? Because I thought we're supposed to change the path if it is not taking us to where we want to go. But people keep going back to, oh, the late former president did the same. What should we make of that and let people understand that we can't say we want to change something and keep staying on?
Keep doing the same thing, even if it is wrong. And I totally agree with you, and I get where they are coming from. Quite all right. And everyone will know, who knows me, has been following my comments and commentary on political issues, national issues, know that I have criticized President Buhari over time. So I'm not defending him.
Yeah.
But I remember the first tenure of Muhammadu Buhari, a lot of, with the exception of the security sector, with the exception of the security sector, you have major appointments, particularly in the first tenure of President Muhammadu Buhari, going to the Southwest. Understand? There was a report that was conducted by Premium Times. It's out there. I've even posted it this week. That showed that from the Southwest, there are over 60 appointments that President Muhammadu Buhari did in his first tenure. Compared to the Northwest where he is from, that had, is it that something up to 40? That is almost half of what was given to the Southwest. In terms of projects, it was within Buhari's first tenure that the Lagos-Ibadan train, the Lagos-Ibadan train was commenced and completed and operationalized within the first year of President Muhammadu Buhari. We are still 8 years after or 10 years after. We are still trying to see where is the position of that of Kano Kaduna, which is supposed to be like the one in the Northwest. It is at 60-something percent, 60-something after 10 years. But in few years, I think 2 years, President Muhammadu Buhari was able to start and complete. It was not an inherited project. He started and completed the Lagos Ibadan. I know of about a number of major road constructions that happened in Lagos State. I know, so it's not just appointments in terms of Buhari's first tenure. I know he changed to a large extent in his second tenure, you know, but largely, and even that one, I think during the election, I complained about it because the votes that were Buhari got in his second tenure from the Southwest, it was nothing to write home about, despite all these things that I've listed that went to the Southwest. And I can, if I'm to enter President Muhammad Buhari's mind as to why he did that, particularly in his first tenure, I think he was trying to be um he was trying to be nice or trying to appreciate the support, particularly from Asuaju and the Southwest, because the Southwest, you know, supported President Muhammad Buhari in 2015, which gave him the mandate. They brought in their resources, they partnered with him, he picked a running mate from them. So I can understand why he was trying to be appreciative, including giving them a super minister. That's something that we never had in the past under Fashola, who had the Ministry of Power, the Ministry of Works, and the Ministry of Housing. All these are like major ministries, but President Muhammad Buhari gave it to one person, and he held that position throughout the first tenure of President Muhammad Buhari. It was I think at the second tenure that one Ministry of Power was just one, but he was still left with works and housing and so on. So basically, to come back to your question, just because something wrong has been done in the past, you know, we should not come to not only replicate it, but also, make it worse. Because as it is, it's getting worse and worse, and I fear for the next president that comes in, because there will be pressure. It will be a trend. There will be a pressure from his people to set precedents. Buhari did it. Tinubu did it. You must do it for us. You understand? So when do we draw the line? When do we say enough is enough? Let us try to be a bit balanced.
Is there a possibility of changing this narrative as quick as possible?
I don't think so. Because one of the fears that I have is that traditionally, the first tenure of every president, he tries to soft pedal, try to appease everybody. This is a tradition, when it comes to first tenure.
It's a global
A
tradition.
global tradition. It's a global tradition. You try to appease all those that helped you, all the different stakeholders, try to manage them and, make sure like you carry everybody along and all that. But I have a fear, and I pray it doesn't materialize, doesn't become reality, that what we are seeing now in the first tenure of President Muhammad Buhari is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is nothing compared to what we will see in his second tenure. And I don't think that, to be honest, the opposition can talk about defeating him all they can, but I have not seen that the ability for them to come together and remove an incumbent, someone like Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So I fear it's not just about stopping it, but the fear that I have is that it is going to even be much, much worse in the second tenure than the first year. And there are already some things that I'm seeing that the president or his government is putting in place now that they will implement when it comes to, because now it's too
Close.
chaotic.
Okay.
There's a lot of moving parts, there are a lot of agitation, there are a lot of complaints for them to implement some of these life-changing policies. And I'm sure they have laid the foundation so that when they take over in the second tenure, they implement. And I think that would be devastating for national unity and precisely.
Or hydro character purpose.
And absolutely.
Yeah. Your commentary is not up to date. It's been a while you do commentary on different, even while you were an appointee for the former governor of Plateau State, you make commentary on things that you think are going wrong. It's so sad that once you're appointed, Nigerians don't want you to talk about he can be quiet. Where should we draw the line, especially with your explosive comment or statement in the recent past on the appointments, on what should be done to change the narrative? Where should we draw the line, or what do you think we can do to educate people on no, because I'm a political appointee or because I'm a member of a political party doesn't mean when something is going wrong, I shouldn't speak about.
So every time I speak on issues, I try to put myself in the shoes of those that are criticizing, others that are mentioning, and I get where they're coming from. You know, traditionally, if you are in a government, you are part of that government.
Yeah.
That's one. Secondly, if you are in a government, you have access, supposed access to that government, that whatever concerns you have, whatever input you have, you should take it. I get where they're coming from. But for in my own case, um, I do not have that access. Do I have access to the president to tell him these issues that I'm telling you now? I don't. Who do I have that is close to him that will listen to me, that can go and deliver the message? I don't.
Someone say
You know,
brother is there.
my brother is my brother, and he's serving as the capacity as the SSA to the president. You know, we do pass some of these messages. It has been, this is 2 years into the administration, and this thing started from day one. So the third point that I wanted to get to is that even if you have those that have access that you can pass your message across, you have done it from behind. You understand?
And there wasn't
Any change. It keeps getting worse. So the last ultimate option that you have is to come public. And you're not coming public. Will the president change his ways because Dawisu is saying president is doing this, is doing that? It's not going to change. You understand? But one of the reasons why you speak up on issues like this, despite several attempts from behind the scenes to say things are not going well, and all that. And this complaints are not just coming from those of us that are not too into the government, but you also have those in the government that will privately complain to you. They'll tell you some of these informations we are getting it from the people in government. So it's not just the complaint is not just coming from those that are outside the government. And the reason why you speak up is simple. You understand? So that it will be on record. Because for posterity's sake. Because imagine when Buhari was doing it, I did not speak.
it would be difficult for you.
And it will be difficult. And that was the same reason why I was speaking out during Buhari. And I was being moderate. I think the issue that I speak the most about during Buhari's time is the issue of security or insecurity.
Yeah.
At that time, I think that issue, and then the issue of, president not holding his appointees accountable. I cannot just appoint you and give you a mandate to deliver this and then just let go without. That is not what leadership is about. Leadership is about holding people that you've asked to, carry out a certain duty for you, if it is in the private sector. For instance, your employee now that employed you to do this interview that we are doing and this work that you're doing, if he's not getting the desired result, should he fold his arms while his company or businesses go down?
And then there should be a fire.
No, definitely.
Not deliberate.
Because you are being paid. You are there to do a particular job. So also a president of Nigeria, if his appointees are not living up to expectation, there should be some certain consequences. But that is not done. So we have done this even during Buhari's tenure. And I remember telling some of my close friends that I say, why are you speaking out? And I told them, we did this when Jonathan was in power. We did this when Erado was in power. We did this when Obasanjo was in power. You had been doing it that time when we were in the opposition, and then just because you are in government, you keep quiet. That is hypocritical. You understand? So if we had kept quiet during Buhari's time when we came into government, I would have not had the mouth
to speak now.
Anybody with moral compass, with some level of integrity or principle, no matter how small it is in him, will not keep quiet. So to answer your question, to be honest, one thing that I suggest to people in government, and this is something that I've deployed myself, if you're in government and something is going terribly wrong, do not come out and defend it, especially if it is rubbish. Do not come out and defend it. Your task is to promote, is to explain, and, you know, sometimes defend some of these policies. But if they're terribly wrong, for instance, to give you an example now, if we say that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has, taken almost all the major appointments to his kinsmen, to his kinsmen, to the Yoruba tribe, for instance. So I don't expect someone to come and tell me in his defense that Buhari has done it or they are competent. You understand? Because, like I said, if you say Buhari has done it, is that are we legalizing? So should we say, okay, so person went to your office and was corrupt? So if I get the opportunity to meet you, I want to steal. Is that what we are endorsing? Or should we say, because they are competent, that is why we are appointing them only Yorubas? Okay, is that what you want to tell the rest of the people, the rest of the tribes, how many tribes that we have in Nigeria? So I think when you're in government and something is going terribly wrong, you try and not look so, you know, to just irresponsible in defending it. Allow people to criticize it, allow people to condemn it. It's not okay. You understand?
In what ways do you think this whole thing would affect the trust of voters from other parts of
it has already affected it. To be honest with you, the type of resentment that is happening or that is building, particularly in the north, you understand, is really alarming. You understand? And unfortunately, just this week, the president gave a presidential directive for all his appointees from the north to converge in Kaduna at Ahmadu Bello. Is this Ahmadu Bello? Yeah, Sardaunaba memorial issue in the program in Kaduna, to tell the north what the president is doing for the years. So I ask myself, every time you see someone working hard to say, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, that means you are not doing it.
Anything.
Because if you are doing it, it is the people
that
will say that, okay, we are doing this, we are doing that. Why is it that it is only the north that the president packed all his appointees and tell them to go and tell the north what I'm doing? You understand? Why is it not in the south? Because the south, particularly the southwest, has seen it. They have seen it on ground. You understand? So if it is
there is complaints in some parts.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Particularly the one or two, I don't want to mention names, but I know that even in the southwest, if you talk to them privately, particularly those that are not from Lagos, and maybe Ogun, anyone outside of this, they're also complaining. But of course, him being one of their own, that is expected. They will have to publicly keep quiet and rally behind him. So the resentment is building. And I have two problems, even with the appointees from the north in Bola Tinubu's government. One problem is that it is as if it was deliberate that the major ones, because if you talk about appointments going to the south, they say, don't you have ministers of defense? You understand? They'll tell you 2 ministers of defense are from the north. You understand? Okay, so where is the work in the security sector that they are meant to? One of the ministers is from Zamfara State. Just this week, 50 people just 50 people were kidnapped, ransom was paid, and 35 people out of those 50 people were killed. The same state that one of the ministers of defense is. So if you talk, so it's like those few key appointments that went to the north, two things are happening. It's either they are incompetent or they are not really funded for them to actually do the job. You understand? That's one issue. And then the generality of the rest, people are not holding like key positions that can do major impact. So basically, this issue I think is really going down, to the grassroots level, and you could see the panic in the government right from the day His Excellency Rabi Musa Konkoso spoke, and then he just mentioned it casually, but the presidency really felt that statement. They really felt that statement. It was as a result of that they gave a marching order to appointees in the north, go and tell them what we are doing. Understand? It is as a result of that we are seeing projects being pushed out. You understand? Okay, we are we are working on Abuja Kaduna Expressway. We have Sokoto to Badagry super highway. Where is the project? Why can't we see we so on the ground? Why can't we see the same way you are putting out videos, photos of the level of work done, in the project, particularly the counterpart of the one in the south, which is Lagos Calabar. Okay, why are we not seeing that level of progress in the Lagos to Badagry to Sokoto project? You understand? So uh, 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 by and large, the president needs to do more. I said it a few weeks back. It is not too late. In 2 years' time, probably let's say in 1 year time, a lot can change. Understand? And we are still urging him. It's still our party. I'm still a member of the APC, and we are still telling him that things can change if the president feels like he wants to change. Hopefully, those around him, you know, will get to, sit down and have a rethink on how these things are playing out. You cannot focus on one particular region, where in a country of 6 regions, and then leave the remaining 5 out of your policies and programs and projects.
If you got like a direct influence on the federal budget today, what will be your top three priorities for balanced national development that will go across the six geopolitical zones or region?
So one number the most fundamental one is security. And this security is not just about putting force on the ground. It is both kinetic and non-kinetic. So the security needs to improve. I think that should be the priority number one. Priority number two is that if you're talking about spread of national development, there should be balance. Each and every region has its comparative advantage. And I think if I'm the president today, I will pick the comparative advantage of each region and develop it. You understand? Because if I can give you another example using the Southwest in particular, I think there's another project which I'm still trying to get the facts of the project, figures. I think is it the dredging of Papa Port or whatever it is. They have not made it public. Still trying to understand the nature of the project. So if you're talking about development, then you have the potential of developing other seaports. Maybe in the east, you understand, you can develop seaports in the east. We have the dredging of the River Niger, which was initially done, reached up to 90% completion stage, and it was abandoned. Develop these seaports and see how these other regions also will benefit from. Just the dredging of River Niger will add value significantly to northern Nigeria. If you establish bigger seaports also in the east, it will also add value to it. And that way, we can help Lagos because it has been decongested. We can help Lagos decongest it. You understand?
So many people would even bring the idea of Lagos is like the economic capital of Nigeria. That's why most of the projects.
Why is it so? It was a capital, federal capital. Was it like this all before? Was it like this when it was Nigeria was amalgamated and put into a country? It was not like this. That means the federal resources were used, resources that you and I and what do you call it? And the southeast and the south, all of the rest of the country put resources together then to develop Lagos. So when it was the capital, and so it was not. They were not like that from when days of Adam and all that. So also, if you invest, I always make this argument. If you invest the amount of projects you have in the Lagos to develop other parts of Nigeria, Nigeria will be the true giant of Africa as we claim. You understand? So these are the issues. The equals comparative advantage of each geopolitical zone should be the focus. And then the last one that I will add, of course, is possibly something that I just see yesterday the Fed approved, which is a bottom up approach in governance. Focusing on the on the words that we have. Yeah, 774 words that we have. You understand? This is something that I've always advocated for.
Over 774 words. I think local government should be
774, yes. So you are talking about it is 8,000, right? Or it is 8,000 or so.
Yeah.
So yeah. So you're talking about development from the ward. If you come to my ward, Kawaji ward, and say how many classrooms does Kawaji need? You say probably they need 100. They only have 10 now, for instance. You know, so if resources are channeled into these wards, to see to its development, to see to its needs, you understand? I think this is something that will spur development, yes, across board, which is why I commended the president in terms of his effort to fully implement local government autonomy. And unfortunately, for some reason, the governors are fighting back, and he seems to have soft pedal on that. Because in the last 1 year, the deadline was October, it was pushed to December, and now we are not seeing it. Yeah, yes, because of the pushback from the governors.
Yeah, due to time, we would like to take three key questions as
I'll try and be
summary,
precise as
yes, as
possible.
possible. Um, First, it will be as a member of APC, your public criticism of this spending pattern and projects for one particular region can be seen as decent. In what ways do you balance party loyalty with sticking to power?
Yeah. So I think absolutely party loyalty is absolutely important. It's necessary. We are loyal to the party, and like I said, we have, been talking about what needs to be done, the corrections that needs to be done behind those, and some of it now is being made public. Probably the intensity now is increasing, because time is running, and all that. But you see, this is the problem with setting precedents. We have never in the political history of Nigeria, come to a stage where we have seen what is now popularly referred to as the wiki style, wiki effect. This is something that I passionately dislike. You understand? You cannot be in one political party and then work towards killing that political party in, the support of the main opposition. You understand? And this is something I have not condoned in the past. This is something that I've spoken out against. But unfortunately, because it was favoring the president right from the G5 governors, before the election, it was favoring President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He allowed it to continue. He encouraged it. You know, he reached out to the governors in the opposition. Come out, let's work together for my re-election. We have now seen a governor of a state, opposition state in Oshun, publicly, not just him, but the entire structure of the PDP coming out to tell you that we are endorsing a candidate of the opposition, not because he is the best, simply because we have an arrangement. He will endorse us for our re-election, behind the scenes, of course, and then we'll endorse him. So a precedence has been set. So nobody will come and tell me that I'm in APC, I'm criticizing APC government. Why? You have encouraged it in weekends, so why should you bother if I say so? That is the problem with setting a precedence.
So, what specific policy reforms would you propose to ensure fairer allocation of resources across all regions?
Specifically, stick to the script. Stick to the rules and regulations that have been laid, other character, spread in not just appointments, but also uh, not just appointment, but also projects, programs. There should be that spread. And I think we already have the laid down rules for this. And I think it should just be try to stick to it and try to see that, that we correct some of these Correct. I just want to make another clarity because every time you start talking, people will start saying, uh, because you have been left out because you want part of it. That is not the case. You understand? Because it's important to highlight some of these things and make sure that our government performs, our government do the right thing, so that at least we can continue to be in government for a very long time. The party.
You contested for a gubernatorial seat in 2023. Um, are you positioning yourself for a bigger role called 2027? Yeah. Okay.
I don't want. I keep telling those that are close to me. I because one of the problems that I am having is that a lot of people, you know, that we had hope in, you know, have not lived up to expectation. I am a bit scared of the system. You understand? And the system keep consuming those that we think are good every day, day by day. They keep consuming them one after the other. You had hope in you, and you go into the system and it consumes you. So it's not everybody that has to add value from that. I know that the bigger value you can add is from the within, but also there are also values to add from without. You understand?
What can we do to change the system? Because it's a systemic problem all the time when we talk about
This
it. What
is
can we do?
this is part of it. We are talking, we are doing, we are putting pressure, we are calling the attention of those that have been saddled with the responsibility of doing the right thing. This is part of it. We need to organize, we need to coordinate, we need to remove sentiments. Understand? Because no matter the level of organization, coordination that you do, once there's sentiment involved, we have to be selfless. And if all these things are the yardsticks of progressive society, and I think we need to focus on that. You need to have nationalism in us, federal character, and all these things. These are some of the things I think that we as a people, collectively need to do, so that we can make the system a bit better. I'd like to add one more point to that. I always tell everybody that asks me, particularly the younger ones that I've had conversations with, do what is right individually. If I do what is right, I go to the traffic light, I wait. My license is up to date. My documents on the paper, my car, vehicle, they are up to date. You understand? I refuse to do bypass of electricity despite the exorbitant amount of electricity bills I'm paying. But I still refuse. I force myself. I've now mastered the art of switching my appliances and regulating it. The same way Nigerians go to Europe and do it to America. They control their AC, the heating, just you, everything. So you also as an individual, try and do the right thing. Probably if everyone, if even if it is 40% of the population that start doing the right thing, hopefully we'll see a better Nigeria, inshallah.
And in 60 seconds, I 2027 is not far. It's not far from us. What do you think, as a young person that is trying to change the narrative, speaking up, uh, we should do to educate and enlighten our younger people on voting, getting their PVCs as well, and at the same time, voting for the right people, not to say according to regional beliefs or religion or ethnicity or other personal senses?
To be honest, I don't have an answer. Yeah, because we've talked about it, we provide the solutions, and still on election day, they'll sell the mandate, very little token, as little as one sachet of spaghetti given to two people to share. I've seen this.
To weaponize
As it,
poverty by the leader.
yeah. So, but I mean, how do you change it? Because the cycle,
Who change it?
they can't. Yeah, they're in poverty. They are looking for the next meal. How do you expect them to change? Are they going to kill themselves because they want to appoint Ajay Halima as the next councillor of their ward? And then they will appoint you thinking that you are competent and you do the right thing, then you go and you change. So the moment they keep seeing that the people they have hope in are going into the system and becoming the system, what do you expect? They will say the last thing I will see from this candidate is what I'm getting on election day. So let me just get it now. At least even if I had one meal for today, at least I've gotten something. I'll wait till the next 4 years again to get it. This is the mentality. How do you expect me to tell you how to change that in 60 seconds? It can't work. It can work. We have tried it and it has not worked in the past. I honestly don't know. I don't have an answer
So,
to
what's
this.
your message?
My message, I keep coming back to it, is that do the right thing. As an individual, forget about what Bola Tinubu is doing. We can speak about it, but focus on yourself, you know, focus on in holding leaders accountable. Probably, that might translate into result. But most importantly, I keep coming back to the same message. You as an individual, do the right thing. Once you do it, the society will be a better place.
Thank you so much. And that brings us to the end of this series with Dawisu. And you can follow us on social media to get more details into key things that are shaping Nigeria politics and especially in terms of economy, infrastructure development, etc. Many thanks. Bye for now.